Jodi Hildebrandt doesn't seem to like her personal space and rights infringed upon. It's almost like she can't take what she dishes out. We're going to talk about her arrest and interview in today's video. Hello, Sofa Squad, and welcome back to the sofa. Sofa's here, Roscoe's there, Floor's here, Paul's here. We are going to be talking about continuing our discussion today on all of this evidence that's been released on the Ruby Franke Jodi Hildebrandt case. Now, my video for yesterday was, or the video before this, depending on when you're watching this, was about Ruby Franke's arrest and interview, and today we're going to be talking about Jodi's. Whereas Ruby's was more like a silent film from the whatever era, Jodi's certainly wasn't. She had some things to say. So the way we'll do this is I'm going to be referencing some clips from Law and Crime of the body camera footage. If you want to see it in its entirety, go to Law and Crime and check it out. I'll make commentary along the way and then talk about it at the end. Now, if you do want to follow Mr. Roscoe and I outside of here on the YouTubes, we're on the Insta, on the Instagram. It's on the screen. It's on the description. So that's it. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, just to get everyone on the same page, remember Jodi Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke, they were recently, well, not recently arrested, but semi-recently arrested and found guilty of the crimes against Ruby's children. I would say Jodi has way more skeletons in her closet because so many people came out of the woodwork to talk about how many lives she's destroyed, like, outside this situation. So keep that in mind as you're watching her body language, especially if you follow this and you see how Ruby acted. I'm not trying to say Ruby didn't do horrible things. We already know she left a diary of them, which we'll be talking about in a different video. Can't make this stuff up. But with Jodi, my overall thought that I'm looking at this through is I'm like, oh, she knows she's in trouble, right? Like, she's scared. Ruby was still so cocky, right? I'll give her that. Like, Ruby was still so cocky. Now, Jodi is too. But Jodi's scared, okay? She's been down this road kind of sort of before, you know what I'm saying? So, anyways, that's it. Let's go ahead and watch that first clip.
Jodi? I need you to step out.
I have my turn.
That's great. Step out of the house.
No, I'm not going to step out of the
Step
house.
out of the house.
Step out of the house.
Whoa.
We're just going to see if anybody else. Is there anybody else home?
Wait a minute, how do you come in my house?
Right there.
They come into my house.
Y'all, this part, I'm not gonna lie, I've watched it so many times, it's insane. Let's drink, go ahead, drink from the damn cup on this whole damn video, y'all. Because this one right here, it's the audacity for me. Okay, so they've come to her house. Now remember this, what has taken place is, first of all, she lives in this like fortress of a home, right? One of Ruby's children has snuck out, gone to a neighbor's. That'll be a different video we do. Let me just say this. When I saw the evidence of the child's condition, y'all, it gives me goosebumps. I knew it was really, really bad. I didn't know it was this bad, okay? And that's saying a lot because I already knew it was really, really bad. Like, you know what I'm saying? You could just tell. So the child in that condition has gone to a neighbor's, an outside source who has seen a child like this, which any of us, if a child like this showed up in that condition, would be stunned. You see why the neighbor started crying. I mean, it makes me want to get teary-eyed right now. So, child has snuck out, gone over there. All that has gone down. Now they're at Jodi's, right? She has another child in the house. So, keep this in mind. So, here she is. Whoa. Already has the lawyer on the phone. I've got my lawyer on the phone. That's nice. Get out of the house. She's still thinking like, you know, well, how do you come in my house? Again, she's very cocky, I'll give her that, but again, she knows. Already has attorneys on the phone. You name it. Let's go to the next clip.
So have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant?
Have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant?
Have a seat right there. I'll explain everything after. Have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant, sir?
Control 12X11. Can you hold the air? We're searching the house.
I can tell you what's in the house.
Okay.
Can you? Let's hear. I would love to. What's in the house, Jodi? What's in the house? Here's my thing that angers me about these situations is when these people, and what I mean by these people is these perpetrators who do this kind of stuff to children, anybody really, but especially when it's dealing with, I should say, incredibly vulnerable populations, children being at the center of that, right? And then when they're slightly inconvenienced like this, like, do you have a search warrant? Do you have a search warrant? I'm like, I bet the kids wanted to say that to you when you were throwing them against a cactus or doing all this crazy stuff you made them do. You know what I mean? Like, to stand up for themselves, but they couldn't. They're children. Yet here you are, still not wanting to even, and I get she's not going to want to just fold right then and there, right? I mean, I get that. That's a normal human reaction. But it's so angering to see how much respect and all this kind of stuff they expect from others towards them, but absolutely unwilling to give it to others.
Just have a seat right there for me.
Do you have a search warrant?
We'll explain it after this.
You can't just come into my house without a search warrant.
We'll explain everything after this, ma'am.
Remember, the lawyer's on the phone. You can't just come in here. Now, he doesn't know at this point. Neither of them do. Let me change that. They technically don't know the reason this is going on. Jodi, in my opinion, because she does so many shady things and she already knows, like, she, I think, deep down knows, like, a kid just escaped my house. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, when we'll get to the part where the cops tell her lawyer what's going on. He has no idea, right? So this is going to be like, what? But again, you can hear in her voice almost the drop of like, oh my God, they're going to the house. Because again, you would have to know the condition of these children and the whole situation, that an outsider is going to look at this and freak out for all reasonings that they should, right?
But that doesn't make sense. You come into my house and do what you want, and then you tell me you don't have a
No,
warrant?
we'll explain why we did.
But don't you have to have a warrant?
Not at this moment, we don't. We're here on exigent circumstances. And I'll explain it after this, after my sergeant and the officer are done clearing the house.
Her silence is so loud. Okay? This is, in my opinion, again, I ain't no doctor, no lawyer, no, as she calls herself later, a psychologist. We'll get to that. None of that fancy stuff. However, when she's looking at him, I hope that when the kids are old enough, like grown adults, that they can, if by their choosing, that they can see her in this moment, to see their perpetrator, their bully, go down. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, it's all right there. I'm like, girl, you know exactly. You know that you are up to some horrible stuff, that you have been mistreating people and children, and it's all coming to an end. Or else, now granted, if we were just sitting here, the cops rolled up in somebody's house, you're going to be like, what? You know what I'm saying? But the fact that it's like, honey, you have children escaping your house. What did you think was going to happen? You know, that they were going to return them and continue doing what you were doing? But again, it's just the demanding of respect. And it's like, but you're not willing to give that to other human beings.
Is there anybody else in the house?
Yes.
2 kids?
There's a little girl.
Just one?
She's right over here.
Okay. How old is she?
She'll be 10 next week.
Okay. And she's on this side?
Mm-hmm. I have Airbnb guests over there. Probably scared me to death.
Okay.
I would give good money to read the Airbnb review that those people left, okay? Number 2, to talk to them. I wonder, has a channel, drop in the comments, has a channel met these Airbnb people and brought them on and talked to them? I would just like to know normal little things. What was Jodi like dealing with? Like, before you even get to this horrible stuff, right? But then notice that what's important, you probably scared them to death. What about the little girl that's scared to death in the bathroom? Okay, or wherever they found her at over there. She's thinking, you probably scared the Airbnb guest to death. That tells you all you need to know, right? No concern. Are there 2 kids in there? There's 1, so she knows one's missing, right? No concern of, is she okay? Where is she? I need to put my... A normal person in this circumstance, and I don't like using the word normal, right? I mean, we can clearly tell I'm not. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, if you look at averages, okay? You have kids in your home, cops burst in. Kids are in wherever. You are going to be like, I need to put my eyes on the children. I need to make sure they're okay. Even if anybody else is in the house, you're going to think that. But especially a child who's going to be like, what? Also, we already know who we're dealing with here, right? They're okay with doing this. do all the crazy stuff, right? So the fact that they were okay with doing that tells you they're not going to, this would not even get on Jodi or Ruby's Richter scale to be concerned about their children because they weren't before.
Are you waiting for me to say something, or? Okay.
I wanted to put that part up there because I just thought it was so funny where the cop is, she's just staring at him with the phone. Where's my phone? Let me do a reenactment. She's just standing here. And I was thinking the same thing too. I was like, are we going to speak, girl? Like, and he finally said, are you waiting for me to say something? He was so authentic with it too, right? He's like, can I help you? Like, you know, I'm kind of waiting for you here. And she's just sitting there. You know, I wonder if her lawyer charged her from the time he answered the phone. Or if he charged her at all for this, right? Can you imagine being a lawyer and getting this phone call?
Are you the owner of the home? Are you renting a room to somebody? Like an Airbnb? Where's that at? Is it the basement?
No.
There's just a room on the outside there? Can you access that room from inside here, inside the house? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can? Okay.
I wanted to put that clip up here just to show how nice these cops are, right? Now, of course, they're not going to try and escalate the situation or do that. And she's not flailing around or trying to run or anything like this. But remember, these are people who have seen the condition of this child. You know what I'm saying? And so they're dealing with her and giving her all the even though, like, we don't know what's going on here, but we know a kid in this condition has left your home and is talking about some crazy stuff, right? And so then here she is, you know, lawyer on the phone the whole time. You know, again, and I said this in Ruby's video too, they are getting treated with much more kindness and respect than they were ever willing to give those children.
Adam, I know you have a flight to catch, so they're just...
Well, so they're in your home because you lied to them about...
Yeah, I've got a police officer standing right here.
Okay.
They're in your home because you lied to them about... I have a police officer standing here. Yeah, probably not the best thing to... I would have told him that you're on speakerphone, the cops are all around me, be careful what you say. You know what I'm saying? It's just in your best interest, even though, I mean, we know the flip side of this and we want justice. It's just, it is what it is, right? Any lawyer would tell you this.
They just walked in the house with a machine gun in their hands.
Oh, Jodi, I'm so sorry.
Oh, Jodi, I'm so sorry. She's in there crying. They just walked in the house with a machine gun. Now you know the fear that you bestowed upon these children, right? Imagine their fear of like, oh my gosh, you did this wrong. You're going to have to. I mean, that's the thing. It's just like this goes full circle round. It is what it is. Suck it up, Buttercup. You know what I mean? That's probably what you told the kids to do.
Lieutenant.
He's lieutenant.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You have a room downstairs that has a safe wheel on the front.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get access to that to ensure that there's no one else in this home?
Adam,
They do need to search that there's nobody else, so I think you can give them access to make sure there's nobody in there.
okay.
And then you don't have to tell me the code if you just want to open it. We're going to go in and make sure that nobody's else there, and then we'll sit down and have a conversation after that as far as why we're here.
So many little secret bunkers and weird little rooms in this house. And here's one thing with this house that just blows my mind. This is obviously a very nice home, you know, and I sit here and think of, well, first of all, I'm like, how much scamming has this woman done? I mean, the scamming industry must be very lucrative, right? But number two, look at all this privilege, all this money, all this comfortness that they have. Yet there's so much darkness and evil surrounding this. The house is not warm at all, right? It feels like there's just this dark vibe. Now, obviously, I'm not there, you know what I'm saying? But even just watching it, and granted, I'm watching this stuff through the lens of what we know, so I'll say that. But the same darkness, that negative vibe that comes from Jodi exudes from this house. It's just like an extension of her. And then all these little secret bunkers that we know that these are places that, maybe not this one specifically, but in general, these were where they were keeping these kids captive and stuff at different times.
I don't know if I have the code.
Does he have the code
No.
and he can tell you the code and that's just between you two?
No. That thing has been locked for a couple of years, and I would have to call whatever.
Okay, is that a panic room or a room where?
It's a room with a toilet, with a sink.
Toilet and a sink, and you don't know the code.
I haven't used it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Toilet and a sink, and you don't know the code. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. You know that their little spike were bing. You know what I'm saying? Like, girl, come on. Really? No. Absolutely not. These are people, when I say these are people, I'm talking about people like Jodi, people like Ruby, people that we see in these other cases that, like I just said a minute ago, like all this money, all this and that, it's never enough. They love having power over other human beings, probably animals too. Anything that is weaker than them, you know what I'm saying? And that's just what they're bullies. But to the nth degree, I mean, this would, if this continued on, y'all, this would be a different kind of trial. Okay, 100%. It was headed that way. It was headed that way.
Officer, so the other individual, I don't know if that was you, mentioned that you would explain the purposes behind what you thought were the exigent circumstances. Can you tell us those now?
I can't. You'd have to talk to my sergeant or lieutenant about that.
Could you get them, please?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Let's see.
So that part right there, and again, the lawyer's being very respectful, the way he's coming across like, hey, could you do this? Could you get them, please? You know, and I get as an attorney, you're going to want to know this stuff. And trust me, I get, even though we know she's guilty, they need to get these kids, all this type of stuff. As a human being, you're going to be like, am I being arrested? What are the charges? So on and so forth. You know, and the cop is so respectful, right? Just so like, sure, let me go get him. Let me go find him. You know? It's like, because again, this is like, they don't 100% know what's going on. They're trying to figure it out. You know, so, but on the same note, it's just like, I think you know why we're here, Jodi.
Is that your attorney? Yes. Okay. Hello, sir. Hey, it's Lieutenant Studley. Hey, so we're not going to have any conversation over the phone. We'll probably do that in person. Is there a time that we can sit down and meet?
Well, there is. I'm getting on a plane, so it would need to be Friday.
Okay.
Could we do Friday?
Absolutely. What time Friday works for you?
Well, could we do in the afternoon?
You tell me what time I will be available.
Jodi, would 4 o'clock on Friday work?
Yeah.
You want Jodi there, I presume?
Yes.
Okay.
Couple of things with this. First of all, let's talk about the last part here. When it's like, Jodi, would 4 o'clock on Friday work for you? I honestly expect her to be like, I've got something. What about Ruby would have done that? Ruby would have done that, right? Here's the thing. I personally, I'm just going to say this because the thought is intruding me. I have to get out there. I think they're both evil. There is something with Ruby that I would almost say she's probably way more dangerous, right? She knows how to put on a mask that Jodi's vibe is just out there, right? It's like, it's just there. Ruby is like this there's something even darker within. And the jailhouse phone calls and all this stuff, it shows this, right? How conniving she was. And here's another thing for that. The fact that Ruby was able to be completely silent during the arrest and interview, but yet Jodi even did a little bit of talking and acting like this, that Ruby's behavior scares me worse than Jodi's. Jodi's is normal in this. She's speaking, she's like, Ruby, you couldn't get her to budge. That kind of self-control, frightening. Okay, even though it was the best thing she could have done for herself, to just zip your lips and keep going. Also, we do need to bring a light to the fact that when the lieutenant was like, my name is Lieutenant Studley, I was like, this dude has probably gotten, especially in the force, where I was just like, no, his name is not Studley. You know, people are giving him a hard time all the time, like, hey, Lieutenant Studley. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, oh my God, that's so funny. But let's keep going.
I presume.
Yes.
Okay. And you are supposed to announce yourself and explain the purpose. You at least explain that to Jodi while I'm on the phone.
Not yet, but I can do that with you on the phone. But again, there won't be any dialogue. We received a report of an that had duct tape around his extremities that was asking for food and water. And based on that information, there are other people in the home, so we're ensuring that there is nobody else in the same condition. So under that exit sheet C, we've entered the home.
Now, as he's saying that, you look at Jodi standing there like a lump on a damn log. As he's saying, and emaciated all the time, and I'm like, and then you see what the child looked like, how upset the neighbors were. Vile. She absolutely, the fact that she could rest her head on a pillow at night and sleep knowing what they were doing, never absolutely step foot outside that jail again. Never put a bunk room underneath the damn jail. Blows my mind.
Everybody the condition we found. The search warrant, I imagine, is going to be do a more in-depth search of the house. Right now it's just safety and security of the people.
Got it.
Making sure they're okay.
No, I see your position.
Yeah.
That's why I'm crying.
Yeah.
I see why you think this is an issue.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah.
She got real damn humble. Okay, I see why you think this is an issue. You think? You do you really, Jodi? Do you really? These two are vile, okay? I'm talking about Jodi and Ruby. I know I've said it 100 times, and I'll say it 100 more times throughout this. It's awful. Now, so there's that. Let's take a moment. Let's watch some clips from her interview. And remember, if you watch the Ruby one, keep in mind the difference here. So just right off the bat, let's...
Trying to get you in the paper. I need you to sit in the seat for me. It's all about camera angles. If you sit in that one, that'd be great.
Can I get you any water, snacks? Doing all right?
Can be expected. How long you lived here in Islands? 11 minutes?
6 years.
6 years? The same house? Wow. You married? Single?
Where'd you move from?
Houston County.
And how long were you up there for?
Are you married? They were being nice with that question, right? I can already tell you the answer to that one, honey. I mean, come on now. Right off the bat, she's already said more than Ruby said the entire day, okay? You can tell and we'll get to where she is. She'll say her a little bit about her lawyer and whatnot. But again, she's already answered more questions than Ruby. And again, that's why Ruby frightens me more, okay? Because Ruby had that look on her face, and I was like, oh, if you were out in like Hunger Games, she would take you out immediately, okay? Or what's that movie where you can like do whatever you want for 24 Purge? Oh, please, that would be Ruby's. She'd be in hog heaven with the Purge, right? She'd win the game, okay? She'd win the game. Jodi's acting more normal, if you will, to me, like from just watching these, where I'm like, you're going to be talking a little bit and all that. That awkward silence that Ruby was just completely fine sitting in, she liked making them weird. Jodi, and again, I'm not trying to give Jodi points or accolades here, okay? She's just as nasty, right? But it's just interesting when it comes down to like that level of trying to get out of trouble or whatever. Ruby was way more in tune with that. And again, all the evidence has come out. We see, hopefully, I mean, I pray the judge will listen to those jailhouse phone calls, right? And so I know it's already happened at this point, right? I hope those come back up later. Let's just put it that way. Because I don't believe anything from these two. Anyways, let's keep going.
I'm a little nervous.
To be honest with you, if I was sitting over there, I'd be a little nervous too. So don't worry about it. We're just here to talk, to get your side. And right now we're just asking you just typical questions, like how long you lived here, that kind of thing.
I'd be a little nervous too. I bet the kids felt that way too, Jodi. I mean, that's just the thing that I can't with it. You know, it gives me... I have no respect for what she's saying because, again, she wasn't willing to give that respect. And the cops are being very nice here. Very nice here.
I watched too many detective movies.
Hell yeah.
Which one's your favorite?
Me too. You can't, honestly, I sit there and I'm married and I sit there and watch those with my wife and I say, like, we don't, that's not how we do it. Hey, that's not right. So don't take, there's some good ones out there, don't get me wrong. But most of them are probably a little off base. We're not as mean. I won't get up and beat you up. We don't do that.
I've watched too many detective movies. I mean, can't roll my damn eyes hard enough. Well, then you should know, right? That's what blows my mind with it. It's just like, but yet you're doing this. I mean, did you not think for 1 second that what you're doing was wrong? I mean, I'm sitting here talking directly to her, right? But you know what I'm saying? That's just what blows my mind. So you can see, I mean, she's very nervous. Very nervous. Again, Ruby acted more like, not fine, but just, she was comfortable in that anxiety and nervousness, which is scary.
We just want to get to know you a little, so if you just kind of want to share a little about yourself and what brought you down here. And
So I trust my attorney. He said, don't say anything. And I said, I have nothing to hide. And he's like, I know that, but just let me be there with you when you talk. So you guys seem nice people.
yeah.
I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm not trying to be difficult.
So I trust my attorney. You seem like nice people. I'm not trying to hide anything. She's trying to talk her way out of it. Okay? Because anyone with any common sense would know. Remember, Ruby's claiming she was brainwashed. So it's all pointed to Jodi, and we know this now, especially from those jailhouse phone calls, that she was going to pin it on Jodi. You knew that from the beginning, right? Jodi's the one spouting all this BS about how to do this stuff to your kids and all this type of stuff. So she's over here talking about, you know, y'all seem nice. I need my lawyer here, which again, I get. No matter what we might think, that's the best thing that these people can do in this situation is wait for the lawyer. But the fact that she's willing to talk a little bit and just seem like, I have nothing to hide, she 100% wants to talk her way out of it.
This is really, if you knew all the pieces, I think you'd have a lot of empathy for what's going on.
That's really what we're
That's what we're looking for. And you're an adult, and the thing about our interview, if we ask you any questions that you don't want to answer, you can just tell us, I don't want to answer that question. But we do want to have a basis and an understanding of what's going on in that home.
Here's the thing with that. That tells you everything you need to know. I think if you knew all the pieces, you would have a lot more empathy. What? Like, what did the child do that in your world you think that is okay? That's all I want to know. What did these kids do that you think this is okay? Literally. I mean, again, you see the condition. I mean, that's what blows my mind with it. Absolutely blows my mind with it. And again, 100% I'll tell you this. She still probably thinks this way. You heard the little flimsy things she said in court and had her attorney do most of the talking. They don't think they did anything wrong. They might say they did to try and save face in front of the courtroom, which Jodi did a very bad job at it. They both did, but Ruby knew how to play the game a little bit more. But even here, you'd have more empathy if you knew all that was going on. Oh, okay, well, never mind. Y'all just let her go. I mean, are you serious?
Or what went on up north that brought them into your home. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to share any of that and you don't want to answer any other questions, that's okay.
I'd like to just tell you, but I don't know who you are. I don't know if you're going to flip my words. I don't know.
And that's the good thing about cameras. Everything, it's pretty much double recorded, audio, video, and it's for the safety of for you and for us because we don't want to flip your words.
Okay, remember that thing that she just said, flip your words. I want to just tell you. I just want to let you know. They're very curious. Remember, at this point, they've talked to Kevin. Well, that's another video. They've talked to Kevin. They are very curious to get this whole thing pieced together of how Jodi came into it. Because remember, they're going to hear all this stuff that starts sounding weird, like, why is Jodi directing all this stuff and then she's the one with the kids in the house?
And this will all be pretty much right there to support you. So we're not going to use anything against you.
He's so insistent then. He's an honest, good man, goes to church. I trust him. Why would he say that to me then?
I don't know your attorney, to be honest.
Well, I'm just saying he's a good, honest man.
Yeah,
and I'm an honest person as well, so we get along great. And he just said, do not say anything.
The fact that she's entertained, this is what I'm talking about. Ruby would not have even had this conversation. She didn't, obviously. Jodi's sitting here, well, why would my attorney say this? You're asking the people that are trying to get you to tell on yourself. You know what I mean? Like, that's what blows my mind. I'm like, you are way more cunning and manipulative than this, right?
So the ball's really in your court on what you do want to answer and what you don't. So,
Well, I think it looks bad that I don't want to answer anything, but it's not because I'm trying to be difficult. I'm really hanging on what he told me to do.
Yeah, who's your attorney?
Adam.
Again, she's trying to talk her way out of this. I know it doesn't look like I'm trying to be cooperative or whatever. She is so concerned about that, about trying not to be, because again, I think that she knows. She's had enough little weird, remember, she's gotten stuff with the board. You know, she's been in very difficult situations and reprimanded and things of this nature. So it's not like, I mean, granted, this is probably a first right here to this level, but it's not like this is her first rodeo at being called out on some level is what I'm getting at. And so she's very much wanting to make it look like she's cooperative and this and that. And it's just like, it is what it is. You know, you don't want to talk because you're your attorney. I get it. I certainly wouldn't want to either in this situation. I mean, there's not much you can say. Now, again, at one point during this, so after this, they'll revert the conversation to talk to us about Ruby and Kevin. We want to know about them. She thinks about it for a second. Girl should have started talking. She should have been like, well, you want to start with them jaywalking yesterday, or where do you want to get at? You know what I mean? Because Ruby certainly did it to her.
I know, and I'd love to tell you if he were here, because I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with what I say. You know, I'm a psychologist. I've watched people flip things all the time.
I'm a psychologist. Go ahead and down the whole damn cup, y'all. I'm a psychologist. What makes me sick to my damn stomach. Cannot roll my eyes hard enough in that BS. I mean, my God. It's the audacity. That's the note we're going to leave this off on. I mean, it literally just makes me very upset. Now, shouldn't it? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, like, these aren't people that I personally know. But it literally angers me to that level. And I guess because in situations like this, I'll say it 100 times as we review this evidence and stuff. When you're dealing with vulnerable populations that can't speak up for themselves, populations that are weaker than their, perpetrator, whatever. And many times this is going to be women, children, elderly, people of this nature. In this case, specifically, it's children. It's so angering to then hear the logic of the perpetrators because they tell on themselves. Jodi, again, even though she said a bunch of nothing, she is telling on herself because you are seeing the micro things, I don't know what you call them, come out. Just like, for example, where I said earlier where she's talking about when they were at the house and she was like, there's a little girl over here, an Airbnb guest over here, you probably scared him to death. Right there, that talking of, okay, she's not concerned about the child, she's concerned about her Airbnb guest. That's where her thought went. That's why when Ruby just went dead silent, it was the best thing you could do because she probably knew, she's like, this is going to be put out there one day. Again, Jodi's trying to kind of like ease her way and be a little bit slick and be a little bit, I want to be the nice lady and and it's like, girl, we're past that. We saw the child that snuck out of your house, right? Again, I'll say it 100 times as we go over this stuff. I think that they are both monsters, to be quite honest, but now watching the evidence, I never believed Ruby. Let me get that out there. I never believed her in court. I never believed any of that. I've always been like, there's something very unwell about her. But now I'm seeing where I'm like, ooh, she's way more sinister than I thought, right? I thought before she was like this kind of sinister, evil person that was easily led. And I'm like, ooh, no, she's way far gone. Way far gone, right? Jodi, same thing, same opinions. But I could almost see Ruby manipulating Jodi to some degree. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And again, by Jodi sitting here, when she said the whole thing about if you knew all the pieces, you'd have more empathy to the situation, done. That right there, if a courtroom, judges, people watching that, all you have to do is put the photos of the children up and then put that statement next to it. And you're like, what? And again, we see just from the amount that they told on themselves. I mean, Ruby kept a diary of this stuff, right? The amount that they told themselves, not only through that, but also through the YouTube channel. Because here's the thing, Kevin's over here talking this and that, and Jodi this and Jodi that. This bizarre behavior was going on their YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? In their household. And so it just kept escalating. And again, I'll say this a million times. If this had not stopped here, this would be a very different story that we're dealing with right now. No one lost their life. That doesn't mean it's okay, but that was the next stop that this train was going to make, right? They caught it in time, and it's so rare that they're able to, because just so often not. I mean, look at poor little Harmony Montgomery. We just finished with that case, just to name one. I mean, this is the trajectory these cases take. So, that being said, I'm curious to know, in the comment section, I mean, what do you think in general, but especially, what do you think about the differences between Jodi and Ruby's arrest and interview? Do you see these same little nuances? Let me know, drop in the comments. So if you're still watching, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. More of these, I'm just going through this bit by bit, so we're going to kind of be having a Jodi and Ruby week here. So that's it. I hope everybody's doing well. And Mr. Roscoe is still sleeping, but he does have to drop some sofas in the comment section so that he and I can meander our little way on down there, hang out on those sofas, and talk about this case and others. And until we do all that, we'll see y'all soon. I just wanted to say thank you again for watching the whole video, and also thank you for being part of the Sofa Squad. Special thanks to all the Patreon members, channel members from both of my channels, everybody who likes, shares, subscribes, comments in the comment sections. It helps the channel out so much. Now, don't forget, I do have that other channel, the podcast channel. That's where we go live, we hang out, we talk. We have kind of sort of a schedule, but just be sure and check it out. I'll put it up here on the screen. Also, if you're looking for merch, be sure to check out my Teespring store. I'll put that up here. And then, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to follow me and Roscoe on the Instagram, go on, check it out. It's right here on the screen again. But once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being part of the Sofa Squad, and I'll see you in the next video.